Welcome back to the channel. I am here today with a little bit of a life update. Time to fill you guys in on the happenings. What have I been going through? I literally took down some notes because there's been so much and I feel like I have so much to say, but I don't want to like word vomit and let it all out all at once. I need to like let it out in a way that makes sense. Ooh, it has been really rough. It has been really rough the past, I want to say 9-10 months, ever since I got back from yoga teacher training last year. I am, if you're familiar with astrology, I have been going through my Saturn return. Whew. I'm kind of in the peak of it right now. If you're not familiar with it, basically what it is, I'm not an astrologer, so I won't give you like the whole deal with it, but basically what it is when you, somewhere in between the ages of like 27 to 30, 31, you go through your Saturn return, which is when Saturn comes back into the same place that it was when you were born. Usually takes about 30-ish years. And when it happens, Saturn comes in and takes your life, goes like this, hands it to you on a new silver platter. So lots of really tough lessons. And this is going to be a separate video for another time, like things I wish I knew during my Saturn return. But basically, mine has to do all about my health, so it's been rough health-wise. One of the biggest things I've really been trying to figure out this past year is my next move, which is kind of exciting. I've really been feeling called to move somewhere new, and I finally found the place. It finally came to me in meditation after months and months and months of asking, like, please, just let me know, where do I go? And I had like written down a list of the next place I want to move to. It has to have like all these factors, and I wasn't like super specific, but I had a list of like 5 main things that I really wanted. And finally it came to me in meditation, like the name of the place. It's not a place I would have initially considered. In fact, it wasn't even a place I was thinking of at all. I was hoping somewhere like super warm and tropical, but this was not that. Yeah, I've been kind of grappling with a bit of self-doubt there. It's just been rough because there's a lot of things that have to fall into place in order for this to happen, and I'm just in this space of like, I don't know how it's all going to come together, but I'm trusting I'm going to end up there before the end of this year, some way, somehow. And it's a really big move for me because I have currently been living in an environment that's just not conducive to creating, not conducive to just like having the space to do everything I want to do. So yeah, I'm excited to finally get out. I'm honestly really tired of this city. I'm tired of living in the Bay Area. It's not for me anymore. So, okay, well, let's talk about the biggest reason why I haven't been showing up. My health. Honestly, after I came back from my yoga teacher training, things were like, I was on a huge momentum. Like I was getting opportunities left and right, and I was honestly a little bit too busy to come and record things. Things kept piling up and up and up, where I started to experience really bad burnout. I would say probably around come last fall. I was really trying to push, like especially with my job, like things were just really stressful. We were like super understaffed, and like it was really hard on me, and I kept trying to, like the Taurus in me, I kept trying to be the reliable one and carry the team and show up and do everything that I had to do, even though I was literally dead tired. Like I didn't want to take any more shifts. I didn't want to do any more stuff, but like I felt like I had to. Basically, my body started to tell me to slow the F down. Slow down. I just wasn't understanding it. You know, I just thought I was stressed. I thought I was overworked for sure. But I was kind of missing the point of everything else that was coming up on top of that. I wasn't leaving any space in my life or in my schedule or in my routine to process everything else that was coming up at the same time. Not just the stress, but like the other stuff that would have normally come up anyway without the stress, if that makes sense. All the health issues were not normal for me. I was getting like nerve pain down my arm, down my legs. I was constantly having neck aches. I like just to like compile everything into one thing, my nervous system was really messed up. Like I started to experience higher levels of anxiety for sure. I started to have really random panic attacks, really bad levels of brain fog, really painful migraines, and they were coming weekly, sometimes multiple times a week, and they would last for days. And on top of that, I was just like, this is how you know it's bad. When you're conscious of the fact that you're numbing out. And I know everybody has their different vices, right? Like some people turn to drinking, some people turn to, you know, inhaling smoke, whatever. For me, it was going out on social media, going on YouTube, and just watching things to numb myself out because I was just too tired to address everything that was going on inside. Because on top of, you know, being stressed and burnt out and all these physical symptoms that were showing up, I also had other things that were coming up that I had to deal with. And so I was just like, I'm too tired. I'm, you know, home from work and I just want to lay in my bed, turn on YouTube and just shut my brain off. And that was the thing. I was consciously just wanting to shut my brain off. And so what happened? You know, my body was like, well, I don't know any other way to get you to listen, so let's start giving you the migraines. Let's start giving you the anxiety. Let's start giving you, you know, all these things. Let's give you the nerve pain in your arm. You know, I laugh about it now. Obviously, this is not a laughing matter in all cases. I feel like I shouldn't have to preface this, but unfortunately, we live in a world where I do have to preface this. Let me just lean in and say this. I'm not a medical professional. This is not medical advice, and what worked for me may not necessarily work for you. So, with that being said, always go get yourself checked out, which I did. And my doctor found nothing wrong with me. All of my tests, perfectly fine. That's all I got. And so obviously I considered seeing a specialist, but I started to just sit with the pain and meditate. And I just, you know, sat myself down and would just sit and just tune into the pain and just listen to what it had to tell me. Which is kind of a very shamanic approach to it, is that a lot of the, you know, physical manifestations and physical symptoms are a result of something energetic. Are energetic or emotional. Like it always starts within before it manifests outwards, which tends to be true for most things. And I started to notice that, you know, as I'd be, you know, holding a twist or a stretch or something like that, and it was very, very gentle. Like I wasn't doing hardcore poses. I would literally just like turn my neck this way and just like feel a stretch right here, which would be super tight because of the migraine tension. And, you know, like emotions would, like I'd be crying and like I'd feel anger or I'd feel exhaustion. Like it was a very specific type of emotion that would come up as I'd be holding the stretch, right? And yeah, I'd be feeling like these heavy feelings coming up, you know, like grief, frustration, exhaustion, sadness, like all the things that I had been really stuffing down to just try and make it through my job, what was happening at home. And this is where I really made the connection. And I started to understand that all of the physical pain that was showing up in my body and all these symptoms were a result of stuffing down my emotions. It was all emotion that was coming up. Again, this is my journey. If it resonates for you, you know, make the right choices for yourself. But don't assume that every kind of, you know, physical issue is just going to be emotions. Yeah, it was really one of those light bulb moments for me. Like, it just makes me laugh now because it was just so obvious. It was so obvious. And I, you know, just didn't get it. I didn't get it for a really, really long time, and I was suffering for a really long time, and, you know, no wonder my symptoms, at least for me personally, no wonder that they weren't reacting to any kind of medication. Because, you know, it's funny because whenever I would take painkillers, I I'd have a way worse headache the next day. And it was almost like my body was like getting angrier that I was trying to stuff it down and, you know, numb it out. So yeah, again, this is just my experience. So yeah, all of this stuff that was really causing me a lot of strife. How else was I going to pay attention to my body? How else was I going to pay attention to what I needed to let go unless it was like really horrendously physically impacting my life? And that's like really rough to say. Now, even now, obviously, like this has been a few months since I, you know, had this light bulb aha moment, and I have been working through it very much so. And on the days that I feel like I don't have any energy to work through it, you know, I always pray to spirit and I'm like, please guides, like, can you just help me bring up what needs to come up and let me know when I'm done for today. Because, you know, there's a lot and you'll never get everything out in one go. So I do feel like I've been learning a lot through that. And they do say that pain is the great teacher, you know, really great teacher. And yeah, I've really been learning of how important it is to stay connected to your body, especially to how you're feeling. Especially to how you're feeling. Feel free to disagree with me, but you know, today's modern world does not prioritize rest at all. It kind of hurts me to say that because it's all about push, 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 create, you know, squeeze every little bit of energy and productivity out of you. And it's like, dude, I need a damn break. Okay, like I need a break. And what's really important is that you have to know, and this is where I went wrong, but obviously it was a learning lesson for me, is you have to know how to uphold your boundaries when it comes to your rest. And this quote from Jurassic Park has been playing in my mind for months. And it's the part where, man, I have to look it up. Yeah, it was Jeff Goldblum's character, and he says, your scientists were so preoccupied with whether or not they could, they didn't stop to think if they should. And that was me. That was me. I was like, well, I still feel like I have energy to, you know, go and take an extra shift at work, or go and do this favor for this person, or go and do like another errand for somebody else. And just because I could, didn't mean that I had to. Didn't mean that I needed to do it. Didn't mean that I should have done it at all. So these days, where am I at? I am obviously meditating daily and taking care of my health the way I need to take care of it. And, you know, I certainly had moments where it was really, really rough. And then I had moments where I was going through it and I was like, you know, like the way that I'm handling this and the way that it's working and actually helping me, I just had moments where I'm like, I'm really going to be able to help other people with this. And like, obviously like through my own junk that I have to like work through, it just like this little light moment came to me where I'm like, oh my gosh, like, you know, I just discovered somatic healing without knowing what it was until I started like researching into it, where I was doing like different things to, you know, move my body and move the energy and the emotions and the stress out physically. Which leads me to my next point. I've really been discovering just the kind of healer that I am, or rather like my emphasis in healing, and the same has been going, like I've been discovering with yoga as well. You know, when you first start out like in a niche, you kind of don't really know what your specific niche is, if that makes sense. Like, you're probably not going to be surprised, but it's grounding. It's not just like, okay, let's be out in nature, let's breathe the fresh air and the sunshine kind of grounding, although like that is a big part. But grounding like physically, mentally, emotionally, coming back to the body, you know, being present in your experience. Emphasis on your experience, okay? Not just what the rest of the world is expecting out of you, but how you feel. And it's just so important, because that level of self-reflection takes you through such a journey. And that's where you really get to discover like who you are. Okay, so where is this all going? I'll definitely be posting on the channel more, and I've really been discovering that in order for me to feel motivated and inspired to create content and videos, I like the unrefined, the raw, the really not super edited approach. Like I can't just be sitting here all like, you know, poised and read off like a perfect 5 paragraphs that's very concise. Like my mind is all over the place. I want to make it fun and I want to make it lighthearted, and if it's chaotic and messy, then it's going to be chaotic and messy. Would my channel be bigger if it was more concise and if I actually tried to put more effort into like thumbnails and SEO and, you know, researching the best titles? Probably. But for now, that's just not, you know, that's not the direction I want to go into. I want to create in a way that feels just organic to me, and that's how it's going to be. So if you two are going through the thick of it, I'm here for you. I am here for you. If you need a reading, if you need to like check in with where you're at, if you want to talk to your guides, I am here. Other than that, I am giving you my full support. I am rooting for you because God knows, like, this life is rough. Hope you enjoyed my little life rambles, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.